everybody. It's good to see you again. Thank you for asking me to come back. Today we're going to talk about signs of spring. I heard that you had a fun parade on Wednesday, the St. Patrick's Day parade. We had some pretty nice weather for this time of the year. Earlier in the week it was really yucky though, with snow and ice on Monday. And yesterday, really windy and rained all day. But, you know, better weather is coming. But that's one of the things we'll talk a little bit about. How'd you do Sunday morning when we lost an hour of sleep? That wasn't any fun, was it? But anyway, we get a little extra daylight in the evenings that way. Tomorrow, Saturday, is actually the first day of spring, and that day is called the Spring Equinox. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit and review from our weather week we did about the seasons, because each of the different seasons kind of has the certain weather patterns that go along with it. And then I've got some pictures I'm going to share with you that are my signs of spring. So you remember when we talked about the weather patterns in each of the different seasons? Well, springtime is a time when it's going to possibly be cold and windy and rainy, or even snow, or then sometimes we're even going to have really pretty days where the sun is out and it's warm temperatures. So we just have to know what the weather is going to be that day and then be prepared for it. So this is a diagram that shows the Earth orbiting around the sun. And we are in this position right here, where the first day of spring, the spring equinox or March equinox, is when the sun and the Earth are kind of lined up so that the sun's rays are hitting it a little bit differently, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And then we get to summer, and then fall, and then to winter, and then this is where we're at. It takes 365 days or 1 year for the Earth to go all the way around the sun. And so as the Earth orbits around the sun, we have these different seasons which have the different types of weather that go along with them. Now, why is that? This diagram shows a little bit more about what we're talking about. Here we are in central Illinois right there. And right now, because of that position where we're at in our orbit, the sun's rays are going to get a little bit warmer and be more intense so that it warms up our area. So that's the main reason why we have the spring season. The second thing I want to talk about, which we see when we go outside, is our grass looks more like this right now, doesn't it? And it looks like it's dead. Well, it's not really dead. It's what we refer to as dormant, where it's sleeping or resting. In the springtime, later in the springtime, in the summer, it's going to get nice and green. And why is that? Well, it happens because there's this stuff inside the grass called chlorophyll. And that chlorophyll actually is a substance that is green in color. And when the sun warms up the air and the ground of the grass, and the sunlight is more intense, we get more and more of this stuff, chlorophyll, inside the blades of grass, inside their cells. And so it gets to be a brighter green. So this grass that we see out our window right now, even though it's kind of gray or brown, is not really dead. And we're going to see it perk back up and get to a bright green pretty soon, because the sun's rays and the temperatures are going to keep getting warmer as we move into spring. So here's another thing that I found that was kind of interesting. So we have our robin again. What does this robin have to do with a full moon? So the full moon is when we see the whole big disk of the moon in the night sky. And the reason this robin has something to do with it, the first full moon of spring has kind of a funny name, and I just found this out today. It was kind of interesting. It's called a worm moon. Now, I don't know exactly why, but I'm going to think that maybe it's because the robins going out and finding the worms in the soil have to do with this time of the year, and so someone named it that. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. So here are some of my images, and it might be kind of hard to see because here again we have that dormant grass, but I was out walking and there was a robin and he was out bouncing around. Here's a couple other things that I saw as I was out on my walk. These plants were starting to pop up, and they do that again, like we were talking about, when the soil starts to get warmer and the air gets just a little bit warmer. And these are some of the very first plants that were popping up. You can also see a little bit of the green starting to come back in the grasses. I'm not real sure what this kind of plant was, but it was in a big bunch all on the side of a hill. Now on that side of the hill facing the sun, it's going to get a little bit more light, and these plants were really, really bright green and looked real healthy. So again, some of the first plants out. Here's a little patch of grass that was starting to green up and pop up. I thought that was kind of cool. And then I also saw some flowers starting to sprout. So anyway, we can see that these changes are all taking place, and pretty soon this is all going to be deep dark green, and these flowers are going to be a lot taller. All right, so this is a really interesting picture. Did you know that trees have flowers also? We see tree buds that pop out and then the scales fall off this time of the year and they start to sprout out. Well, this is a maple tree, and these are actually the flowers that are growing on the tree. Now they don't have the big bright colorful petals because they don't need them for what they use in order to produce seeds. Now pretty soon, this is where we will see the helicopters that we see falling down on the ground from the maple trees. These will develop into the seeds that have a wing on it, and so when they fall off the tree, they start swirling down and the wind spreads them around, and hopefully one of those seeds will find a place to start growing, and eventually it could grow up into a big, huge tree over a number of years if it's allowed to grow in that spot. They produce thousands and thousands and thousands of these seeds though. And there's another picture of it. You can see the different parts of the flower. I thought that was kind of cool. Trees have flowers. Interesting. All right. So now, some other signs of spring that I really like. So this is Justin Thomas. He just won the golf tournament. I like to go out and play golf. So this is one of my signs of spring. And so now, this is my favorite sign of spring. It's baseball. And baseball is even on TV right now, spring training out in Arizona. It will not be too long that we will see lots and lots of green, lots of colorful flowers. This is a flowering tree. The grass will be green. The animals will be out and moving around, because it's going to keep getting warmer and warmer and warmer, and we're going to have some beautiful days, and I just can't wait. Now, if you have any more questions, feel free to get them to Annie or to one of your helpers, and we'll try to answer them next time. If not, then have a great day, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks.